We're now going to look at media players and the key features that you need to know. The first one is they're small, light and easy to carry. They use solid state memory so the songs don't skip when the device is jolted. They also hold a lot of media, for example songs, podcasts, audiobooks and videos. With a media player you can set playlists so you can decide what plays. They've also got simple interfaces with, for example, the jog dial. You can lock them to prevent accidental activation, which obviously saves battery power. So these are the key features for media players. We're now going to look at the security features of personal media players. The first feature is it locks automatically if it is not used for a certain period of time, and this prevents accidental or unauthorised use. The media player also has the feature where it uses antivirus software. It's got the hard reset feature, which allows the user to delete all data from the device if they sell it or if they dispose of it. It's got remote management, which allows you to deactivate the device remotely if it is stolen, which renders it useless to anybody else. It has the option where it hides the Bluetooth and wireless sharing, which stops users accessing files that are on the device. Backup features, which allows you to back up your data to a computer. The personal media player, and here's the keyword again, also encrypts data, which prevents other people from accessing it. A lot of media players will also only reactivate when you enter the correct password. Okay, so the final section on media players looks at digital rights management and connectivity. So we'll look at connectivity first. We've got wireless transfer through Wi-Fi, Bluetooth and infrared. It's also got a HDMI port, which allows users to view HD movies on TV through a HDMI cable. It's also got a USB port, which allows transfers of files to a computer. So digital rights management. What is digital rights management? Digital rights management prevents you from making copies of audio and video files, and the main purpose of this is to protect the copy holder by preventing illegal copying. Okay, so downloading versus streaming. What are the advantages of streaming a video? And obviously the reverse of this applies for downloading. So the advantages of streaming video, the first one is it saves time. The user doesn't have to wait to download a file to play it. It's set up as a continuous stream of data and is played as it arrives by the software on the media player. The second advantage is it uses less storage space. So what are the disadvantages? So when we look at the disadvantages, the first one is you cannot keep a copy or a local copy for viewing offline. So if you've not got access to the internet, you can't watch it. There is limited availability for some streamed video, so it's only available for a certain amount of time. And the user experience is dependent on the connection quality. And remember again, these the two key features that you need. You need high bandwidth and low latency. They're your keywords that you need to remember if you're discussing user experience and connection speed. High bandwidth and low latency. Okay, so the next topic is games consoles, and in this section we're going to look at the features of games consoles and the peripherals that you can use with games consoles. So the first feature is connectivity. There's USB, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi and Ethernet network cable. The second feature is they're capable of multiplayer online gaming, which I'm sure you've all played at times. The CD, DVD and Blu-ray optical drives. As well as this, go back up to the top, there's high resolution output for high definition games, so it improves the user experience. So if you're asking the exam, well, what peripherals can you use with a games console, you're looking at the peripherals such as high definition equipment, for example a HD TV and a HDMI cable. You've also got wireless controllers, wireless headsets, hard drive transfer cable, a webcam, speaker or microphone. Notice they're grouped together, so if you ask for 2 features in the exam or 2 peripherals in the exam, don't use webcam and speaker because that might only just get you 1 mark. The next one is motion sensors. So all of those are the peripherals that can be used with games console. Quite often in the examiner likes to ask about the health risks. You need to link these to dependent upon what they're asking. So if it's the health risk of looking at a screen for too long, you're not going to be getting your muscle and joint problems. So some of the health risks of games consoles. So the first one is overuse injuries. So this is where you're pressing buttons sort of constantly, can lead to RSI, especially of the thumbs. How you can overcome this: set sensible time limits, take frequent breaks to stretch and flex, and don't use the same controller all the time. The second health risk is obesity, and again this is from spending too much time just sat playing computer games rather than doing physical activities. So how you can overcome this: again, set sensible time limits and do physical activities when not playing. The next health risk is eye strain from looking at the screen for too long. To overcome this, you adjust the screen, take gaze breaks, and what this means is you move away from the screen so you're not looking at the screen for too long. And finally, move furniture so that the light doesn't shine on the screen. And I'm not suggesting that you all rush home and start moving your parents' living rooms around. And the final one is muscle and joint problems, and this occurs from being sat in the same position for a long period of time. How to overcome it: take regular breaks, adjust the furniture again to suit your height, and use an ergonomic chair if possible. So an ergonomic chair is one that is designed purely for gaming, and it sets your posture right for when you're playing your online games. So these are the health risks associated with online gaming. Okay, so what are the signs of overuse of games consoles? The first one is you spend all your free time gaming. You lie about how long you spend gaming. You would rather play games than spend time with family and friends. When you are sad or upset, you escape into a game. You get irritated and agitated when you're not playing games. You are not keeping up with homework and your grades at school are falling. You are giving up other hobbies and interests to focus on gaming. So all of these are signs of overuse of games consoles. Next section is home entertainment systems. We're going to start by looking at digital television. So with digital television, it's got more channels than analogue TV. It's got high quality pictures and sound. You can access digital radio stations on the TV. The electronic program guide displays program information on screen. It's more accessible, for example, audio, sign language and subtitles. It's got interactive features, so for example extra coverage, you can vote online, things like that. And finally, greater control. Some programs, or in fact all programs if you've got the right equipment, allow you to pause live TV. You can save programs to watch later. So how can you enhance a home entertainment system? The two main ways are through digital projectors, so you can project HD images from a computer, a set-top box, personal media player or DVD and Blu-ray player onto a screen or wall, and home cinema or theatre systems, which include DVD or Blu-ray players, amplifier and sort of 6 speakers for surround sound. So how is digital TV delivered to your house? And there are two main ways. The first way is delivered either by cable or by satellite. Now moving on to look at SatNav. And in this section you need to know that SatNav use GPS to plan routes and give directions. GPS is global positioning system and remember it's the sat-nav that gives the route and directions, but sat-nav uses GPS, so they are two different things. So why do drivers use sat-nav? The first one is to plan the route. They can check the speed. They can get live traffic reports and avoid congestion. They can find scenic routes or conveniences, for example service stations. So sat-nav's not necessarily just used to get directions. Now there are some health and safety risks, and this has been asked in the exam before. Health and safety risks. The driver may take their eyes off the road. The device may cause a blind spot. So if it's positioned on your windscreen in a particular way, it can prevent the driver from seeing in that area. The device could lead a driver down hard to navigate roads, or it could lead them to a road that maybe is no longer there, or the road could be closed. Tunnels can block signals. So if, for example, you're driving along, got your sat-nav on, you go through a tunnel, and you might find that it loses its signal. The reason for this is because the signal cannot pass through the tunnel. Keyword to know is convergence, and this is where digital devices take on functions that are normally found in other devices, and we'll explore this in the next clip. So that's the information you need to know on sat-nav. Okay, so you've probably all got a smartphone, and when you start to drive in the not too distant future, you might have the option of whether to download a smartphone app or whether to buy a dedicated sat-nav. The advantages of using a smartphone app: you're always likely to have your mobile phone with you, so you will always have your sat-nav. They're generally small, light and easy to carry around. And if you already own a smartphone, then you can buy apps from the major sat-nav manufacturers for your phone. However, there are some disadvantages of using a smartphone app rather than buying a dedicated sat-nav. The first one of these, you might have to pay for an expensive sat-nav app if your phone doesn't come with one. You can be subject to charges if you don't have a good deal on your mobile internet usage, and you will have to pay roaming charges if you use it abroad. And using GPS on your mobile phone runs the battery down, so you might go on a journey, use your GPS on your phone, and then you've got no battery power at the other end. And smartphone sat-nav does not always update quickly enough, which could cause you to miss instructions and end up getting lost. So that is the reasons, or they're the advantages and disadvantages of buying a smartphone app or having a dedicated sat-nav. Okay, and the final topic in personal digital devices is looking at the impact on organisations. So far we've focused on, if you like, personal use. We're now going to look on how they've impacted on organisations. So how do organisations use ICT? They use it to store data, design tasks, production tasks, planning, advertising and communicating. So if we then move on to look at the portable digital devices and why organisations should use them, it allows greater collaboration between workers at different sites. So for example, using cloud computing, you can all share the same files, even if you're located in different parts of the world. However, it does put organisations at greater risk of hackers stealing or corrupting data. More and more organisations are developing an online presence. So what does this actually mean, and how do they have an online presence? And the first way is by profiling their customers, and this means tracking information about customer transactions, which is gathered using cookies. A lot of organisations will have websites to sell goods and services. They might have a blog to tell customers about their developments, but in a more personal way. Social networking to monitor comments and engage in discussions. And the final way, which we've looked at in class, is viral marketing, to advertise through video uploads. So if you're asked in the exam, and it could possibly be an extended answer question, the impact on organisations, these are the areas where you need to consider what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages, and obviously with all of these, How have they had to change the way they operate?